Electoral Matter Climate Change. Your Vote Matters. By Menzies for Climate. The world is facing a crisis due to global heating and climate change, and Australia is highly vulnerable. When you vote in the upcoming federal election, you'll have the power to do something about this. The climate crisis. Our planet is obviously getting hotter. 2024 was the world's warmest year on record, and the years 2015 to 2024 were the 10 warmest on record. The heating of our planet is driving climate change, and this is having worsening impacts both globally and nationally. These include floods, droughts, heat waves and bushfires made more severe and/or more frequent as the world gets hotter. Humans are causing global heating by the emission of greenhouse gases, primarily through burning fossil fuels, coal, oil and gas. But there is a serious disconnect between the established causes and impacts of climate change and the attitude of many of our politicians to the climate crisis. The solution: we need to drastically reduce our ongoing dependence on burning fossil fuels for energy and continue the transition to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. This transition opens great opportunities for a better future, reducing our dependence on polluting fossil fuels and developing new, sustainable industries and a prosperous green economy. The transition to renewables is occurring in Australia and around the world, and much headway has been made. According to the Clean Energy Council's 2024 report, almost 40% of Australia's electricity is provided by renewables. But the transition is not happening nearly fast enough to limit the rise in average global temperatures to the upper limit of 2 degrees centigrade, set by the Paris Agreement in 2015, let alone the agreed preferred limit of 1.5 degrees. The Coalition's nuclear proposal. The Liberal National Coalition has proposed the development of nuclear power as part of the future energy mix, along with renewables. Nuclear power is a low-carbon energy source, but the Coalition's policy involves major risks relating to issues such as the costs involved, the need to extend the use of fossil fuels until nuclear power plants become operational, the potential incompatibility involved in the mixed use of renewables and always-on nuclear power, the amount of water needed to cool nuclear reactors, and the disposal of nuclear waste. The ABC News website has a good discussion of the Coalition's policy, published on December 14, 2024, entitled, "What Can We Actually Learn from the Coalition's Nuclear Power Modelling?" Your choice at this election. Climate change and the transition to renewable energy are key issues in this year's election. Labor, the Coalition and the Greens have very different policies relating to these issues. Labor has emissions reduction targets of 43% by 2030 and net zero by 2050, and aims for renewables, especially solar and wind, to power 82% of our energy grid by 2030. The Coalition, while supporting a target of net zero by 2050, proposes to do away with Labor's 2030 target and develop nuclear power. The Greens policy calls for a nationwide systemic response to the climate crisis, aimed at achieving net zero or net negative greenhouse gas emissions by 2035 or sooner. Everyone's vote matters, and we urge voters to consider climate-related issues carefully and make an informed decision when deciding who to vote for themselves and their families, as well as for future generations. This article was supplied by Menzies for Climate, a climate and environment group that provides information about the positions of Menzies candidates in the 2025 federal election regarding climate change and environmental issues. Find out more at menziesforclimate.org. Authorised by Jeff Cranston, Suite 197, 793 Burke Road, Camberwell, 3124. Electoral content is authorised by James Poyner, 168 Yarra Street, Warrandyte.